Hey, it's Ralph Breaks the Internet, a movie about a giant entity that's desperate for money and decides the best way to get it is to recycle other people's ideas into his own content, for the sole purpose of financial gain. He learns to ignore criticism because a lot of the people delivering it are assholes, and to market his content so aggressively that it becomes almost impossible to avoid. Hey look, Disney made this.
Boom! I accept your apology.
The director said, let's have Ralph eat a giant cherry that looks like an apple. It'll make him look like even more of an asshole.
The CinemaSins writer said, let's have Jeremy stretch this joke further than we've ever stretched it before.
Tron has a virus, which, what? Tell me how that works with an arcade machine? And furthermore, if these two movies have taught me anything, the arcade owner disposes of the machines as soon as anything goes wrong with them. So why is he keeping Tron plugged in?
No, if these movies have taught you anything, which clearly they fucking haven't, it's that if anything goes wrong, his first step is to try and repair the machines, like would actually make sense, and then if he can't, he throws them out.
Have we discussed the weirdness of different generations of video games with different advances in code, easily moving in and out of every game they want? Because that's weird, yo.
Really, Jeremy, is the plot about video game characters being sentient, like in a sort of Toy Story way, and visiting each other in their different games, not realistic? Thanks for pointing that out. Although I am pretty sure if you send just the actual premise outright, like, hey, these video game characters aren't actually alive, this would never happen in real life, that people would start to notice how pointless it is. So you've got to pick one little detail within it so that people don't realize what you're doing is just sinning the intentionally absurd premise.
Also, does nobody except Vanellope and Ralph wander from game to game in this arcade? You don't see anybody else in other games unless it's Tapper.
No? We see lots of characters in games that aren't theirs in this movie. Plus, even if we didn't, we hardly see any of the arcade world in this film anyway. Here's some more footage of characters outside their games, by the way. So even if we didn't see any of this, it would hardly be something worth mentioning. Maybe if you'd paid attention, you would have the answer to this pointless question in your brain already.
It's a plug-in alert.
This is what I used to tell my college roommate whenever I thought there was a possibility of coitus in my dorm room that night.
Do you get it? The joke is that sex.
Whiffy? Or wifey? Well, it's either wiffle ball or an arranged marriage game.
How would Ralph have any clue about arranged marriages? I know, it's a joke, but it's a stupid joke, given the context of the character.
Hang on, I just have to save the clip of Jeremy saying that. I'll be right back.
Drinks out of the house, everybody! Felix is paying!
Apparently with currency that translates between very different games and is never explained. Shots!
The only world in which it would be a good idea for movies to explain little details that don't have any bearing on the plot or really anything is the world inside Jeremy's head. Like, Jeremy brings up the fact that this currency works across different games, when clearly the games are so used to intermingling that they have, like, loads of different systems set up specifically for intermingling and stuff like that. But them developing a currency? Nah, that's fucking taking it too far, man. I don't think I can believe it at that point.
Through this very strange arcane process, Vanellope and Ralph are shot through the internet. You gotta get there somehow, I suppose, but even for a warped cartoon reality, this seems like a stretch.
So much of this video is just Jeremy drawing lines in very strange places. Lots of the stuff in this world is weird, and this is a completely arbitrary thing to have a problem with. Up until this point, Jeremy has totally accepted the fact that all these wires have little transport systems inside them, and is even okay with the extension cord acting like a little train station for them. But this fucking crosses the line for no reason. And hey, this is actually a wire that data is supposed to be transmitted down. So if you actually were to assess this based on our understanding of the real world, which would be kind of stupid and pointless, but hey, you're doing it, it would actually make more sense than other stuff we've seen in this franchise.
I know Ralph has to have a place he can break, but why does the internet always have to be represented by some central city in TV and movies? Isn't the entire point that it's not centralized?
The only reason that it sounds like there's a contradiction here is that Jeremy used the word central to describe the city. When you're making a physical representation of the internet, having websites near each other like this makes sense because of how easy it actually is to traverse between websites.
So out of the entire internet, no one else is playing this game right now? Or at least in this location? Seems like a pretty popular place, but it's completely abandoned for this scene.
This sin is that this game, that we don't really know how it works. It could be like an MMO, or it could be like a small matchmaking type thing with lots of different servers, has one location in it that doesn't have any people there at this one specific time. Also, Jeremy says that this one location seems to be pretty popular even within the game. Based on what exactly? The fact that there's no one there? Where did you get this from? Did you just decide that?
Shank not only knows what she needs to do to get past the fire, but she apparently had all her other moves mapped out beyond that, even though she couldn't see what the situation was on the other side.
It's a shame she's not some kind of video game character who probably knows this world back to front.
There are much better ways to make money on the internet than stealing cars.
You know what? I'm honestly just proud of Jeremy for not making the obvious sex joke.
If this thing goes viral...
Honestly, between attempting to steal Shank's car and trying to get videos to go viral on the internet for money, which one is more difficult? I'm gonna say getting videos to go viral.
You know what? I kind of was also slightly annoyed at the oversimplification of YouTube in this film. So let's actually do the math to see how many views Ralph would have needed to get his money. He needed to raise $27,000. His video was incredibly short. It was only like a few seconds. So I'll use the ad rates from my shortest recent video, which is the Doctor Who one, which is $0.0016 per view. $27,001 divided by 0.0016 is 16,800,000, which is a lot. That's a lot of views. Definitely a lot of views for someone to get on their first day of uploading videos to YouTube. I mean, this is kind of all unnecessary because the movie actually shows us how many views he gets, and he gets like hundreds of millions of views in this video, which is, you know, even more ridiculous than that. I just wanted to figure this out. I don't know.
What if I made you a whole bunch of videos of me doing all kinds of them crazy things?
You mean saturate the market? That could get you a lot of hearts fast.
Pretty sure this is not how it works, but carry on, movie. This is already exhausting.
They totally don't represent YouTube very well in this movie, so you had a lot of options of things to sin here. And of all the options, you decided to disagree with this one and say, no, oversaturating the market with loads of the same kind of video isn't an effective strategy at all. Okay, CinemaSins, sure.
I'll just copy whatever's popular.
Genius!
But Yes was literally just poo-pooing the derivative videos that Maybe was showing.
No, she was not literally just poo-pooing the videos. Get that image out of my head, please. I mean, I guess not that any of the actual details make it any worse, it's just I've got the mental image of someone pooing now, and that's not really what I want.
Is there a way to do something like that to Slaughter Race?
He's talking about a virus, but let's review this, shall we? A video game character from a 1980s arcade hit somehow transported himself via electrical cables into a router, which sent him to the internet, where he met this pop-up ad named Spamly. Together, without any human interference whatsoever, they'll create a virus and somehow mess up Slaughter Race. That isn't a sin. I don't know what the is.
When have you known what a sin is? Because it seems like you're normally pretty inconsistent on that. I don't think you've ever really got it down to anything more specific than a few words followed by a bell.
Breaking news. The internet is under assault.
Where the hell did that giant TV with full volume come from? It certainly hasn't been on during this whole movie.
I mean, you're right, it certainly hasn't been on the whole movie, because we've literally just got to this place now. Like, literally, and I'm actually using literally properly to mean the thing that it means. Vanellope only arrived here 2 seconds ago. It would be kind of weird if this TV, like, followed the characters around as we went with them.
28,000 Ralphs later. World War R?
Hey, you know what these Ralphs are kind of like, but not really? Zombies. We should say words about that.
What are the stakes here? Is the internet really in danger? Especially since the Ralph of Ralphs is solely focused on pursuing Vanellope. Can Ralph really be killed by King Ralph? Will any of this matter by the time the inevitable third entry titled Wreck It is introduced?
Well, we know that video game characters can die if they're outside the game. We know that the virus actually is capable of causing serious damage to the internet, and yeah, you're right, they're probably not going to kill off the main character in the second installment of a kid's movie franchise. But you know, the fact that you know a movie isn't going to do X thing because it wouldn't make sense for the movie to do X thing is a criticism you can level at pretty much any movie if you try hard enough. I mean, Batman's having a fight here, but we know he's not in any real danger because there's no way they'd kill off Batman at the beginning of this Batman movie. Yeah, you're right. Well done. You've successfully identified a thing that probably won't happen.
Oh, I just realized something. These Ralphs are essentially one gigantic human centipede.
I mean, yeah, in like all of the ways except the ways, that is true. And the sin total is 21. I've said this a couple of times before, but for anyone who's missed it, I'm going to be making the classic CinemaSins series at least once a month. They're pretty fun to make, they're pretty harmless, and people like them, so I'm going to keep making them, just not as regularly as I used to. The reason I've been doing them even less than that recently is because I'm doing the CinemaSins breakdown, and I don't want to oversaturate my channel with CinemaSins based content. But other than that, before I go, I'd just like to say a huge thanks to my patrons. You guys are good. Fuck it, let's go with that. That's an adjective. But no, I can't begin to communicate how genuinely I do appreciate your support. Other than that, if you've enjoyed this fun little thing, I've got a few more fun little things linked on screen now, for you to view at your own leisure. I'll see you on Sunday for potentially something quite a bit different from what I normally do. If everything goes to plan, it won't be a response video. I know, how crazy is that? I'll see you then, and goodbye.